This is a rock machine, a rock sphere machine that I'm building. I've been running it a couple weeks, a little bit in shambles, but I took it apart so I could paint it. The motors needed grease, so I had to take it apart anyways. So I'm putting it back together. I have I call these the sleds. I don't know what they're called, but the motor mounts on the back here. The shaft sticks out this way. The cups go on here. Then this sits on here, and can adjust that. So I'm putting it back together. I got my little control box here. I got the motors. Here's a rock. I sharpied on to see the flat spots of white rock. I'll get it together and I'll kind of do a little overview of it. This is the motor that I'm using. It's just a cheap 120 volt, 120 RPM motor. It gets pretty warm, so one thing I noticed when I was taking it apart is that the grease is starting to kind of melt out of there. So I went and got some higher temp grease. I don't know what the grease was in there rated for, but probably not super high temperatures. It runs around 190 degrees. I'm kind of pushing it on probably the power requirements to do this, so might be the first upgrade is to update one of the motors to bigger motors, and maybe to make this just the polishing machine. But anyways, I've been putting new grease in so that this higher temp grease hopefully stays lubricant and maybe extends the life of this motor. All right, I got it wired back up. I got the motors mounted. Not all the leads on the wires were the same length, so I trimmed them off the same length and reran them. Once I started looking at this, I was thinking I maybe should have ran these cables in the that part of that tube and then out the back on each of those, maybe made it a little bit cleaner. But got the motors mounted, they're all wired. I got them numbered 1, 2, 3. I have my control box here, 1, 2, 3. Power switch, the power cord comes out, plugs into the wall, and then I can do counterclockwise or clockwise on each motor. So here it is, fire it up. There, all the shafts are spinning. Like I said, if I want to switch the direction of one or stop one, I can stop that one. I would never run it that way, but switch it to go the other way. So now it's going whatever the opposite it was, going counterclockwise, clockwise. Switch it the other way. So I can run it independently and also shut the whole thing off. So if I want to just shut the whole thing off, I flip the main power switch, whole thing's off. I'm gonna mount the cups here. These are diamond hole saw cups with a 14mm thread and a coupler to go on there. So I'm gonna mount those back on there now. My bucket for catching the drip water is there. I need to make a little tower to put this is my stand here, where fill this with water, then I can drip water onto the rock. So I'll get it set up here and then show you what that looks like. All right, here's what I got. So I got the sleds with a hinge, the electric motors mounted, coupler, diamond hole saw. This is just a container to catch the dripping water. And then I was using a 5-gallon bucket as I prototyped this, so now I made a 2x4 stand, and I just grabbed an old car wash, windshield wash fluid jug there, the ball valve, so that it can drip water on the ball. A couple things I would have probably done differently is this is an aluminum coupler. I think that's going to be steel. I can tell that when I take this off the shaft, it's already kind of gumming up because of the dissimilar metals. So that probably will get upgraded if it wears out, when it wears out. And then we'll see how these motors hold up. Like I said, they run pretty warm, about 200 degrees. If this is the cheap insulation in the windings, they'll be good up to 220, 230 degrees Fahrenheit. If I need to upgrade these, These are like 25 bucks on Amazon, so they're pretty cheap, but I could get new ones. And then potentially thinking about building another machine that would be the shaper that would go from the rough ball to the sphere, and then this would just be the polishing machine. The working load on that would be a little bit easier on these motors. So I'll get a ball in there and I'll show you what it looks like with a ball in there. Here it is with the ball in there. This is getting pretty round, but I put some Sharpie on the flat spots there so I could see it. When it's white like that, it's pretty hard to see what's actually not round and what's flat and how much farther that needs to go. Being that it's white, I may regret putting that dark Sharpie on there, but this is only the second ball I've ever made. Right now I'm just using rubber bands to tension that. Does a good job. These ears here, I figured out with this ball at this size and at this shape already, the longest pegs here is a kind of a good tension with 6 of them on there. If I want to do it less, I can do the closer pegs or the medium length. So I can kind of adjust the tension with the rubber bands there, but I will get the water running and then I'll turn it on and I'll show you guys that. Here it is running. It's not too loud. It is a lot louder with these cups on there than with the other polishing cups I have over there. The water, I want it to drip really slow. I don't want to use a bunch of water. It kind of helps the grit of the rock and the diamond hole saw work together. So I might have my water a little bit too slow right now, but I'll adjust that and we'll let this run for a while and we'll see how much smaller those black spots get. The black spots are just helping me identify that it's running in a random pattern. So I stopped it just to show you. This is the first rock that I made. It was kind of my prototype one. I think this is granite. I'm still kind of learning how to identify rocks, but there's kind of gives you the targeted sphere that the size I'm trying to target. I think the polish is pretty decent actually. That's 6,000 grit. So now I'm just trying to get that white one to get down to the diameter with no flat spots. So that's my first one. That's my second one. And I got a whole bunch more staged in order to kind of see what we can do with this thing. I think it'll be kind of fun to screw around with.